Something strange is happening right now. At a time where everything feels more artificial and soulless and repetitive, there's a growing desire for something real, something beautiful and meaningful, and something that connects us. If you zoom out, we've actually seen this pattern before, right before the most important period in human history, the Renaissance. My name is Dave Blacks, and if this is your first time watching one of my videos, welcome. On this channel, we talk about philosophy, art, film, and politics. A lot of things that are happening in popular culture right now. In this video, I want to explore why we might be heading into a modern renaissance in the year 2030 and beyond. What today's culture is getting completely wrong, and how this connects to a theory in a book called The Fourth Turning is Here. Because if that theory is right, we're not just changing, but we're about to reset completely. So what is a renaissance? When people hear the Renaissance, they think of art and paintings and maybe Michelangelo, maybe Leonardo da Vinci, but that's not all it was. It was a shift in a mindset also. A move towards individualism, the human experience, and creative self-expression. Now, this idea is called humanism. Instead of relying purely on religion and authority, people started asking, what can I create? What can we understand? Instead of praying for solutions, they started to invent them. And that shift didn't just create art, it led to enlightenment, science, modern philosophy, and entirely new ways of thinking. Now, let's look at today. We have more tools than ever, we have more access than ever, and somehow we're doing less. AI-generated content, endless reaction videos, and copy and paste trends. There's this thing going around now where it's like day number blank of doing X stupid thing. So it'll be like day number 1 of punching myself in the face until I get 1 million followers. And that's where we're at as a society. Day 1 of punching myself in the balls until I get 1 million followers. That's where we're at. That's the low effort content that we're at. It's reached the most basic minimum level at this point. It's not creation, it's just recycling the same stuff. The art of trying is almost completely gone. People don't want to try to do anything meaningful anymore. Because trying means you might fail, you might look stupid, and worse, somebody might watch you fail, record it, and put it online for the whole entire world to see. So instead, people play it safe, or worse, they pretend like they just don't care. In our culture right now, trying hard is embarrassing, but here's the truth. In order to get so good at something that it looks effortless, you have to try hard first. Pretending not to try is just insecurity in disguise, right? The Renaissance was a time of debate and philosophy and open ideas. I mean, nothing was off the table. Everybody already surrounds themselves with people who agree with everything that they already think. So nobody ever grows. We just get echo chambers. We also lost something deeper, something more spiritual and primal. We don't think in cycles anymore. We think in linear terms now. Let me tell you what I mean. Historically, humans viewed life as cycles, birth and death, and then rebirth again, and then fall, growth and decay. Cultures like Hinduism have traditional cyclical ages, and Buddhism where they contrast suffering and enlightenment in the yin and yang. Also, Christianity has this idea of death and rebirth, right? It's seen through a lot of cultures. This is something that we're subconsciously aware of, but we're not consciously aware of, right? They all point to the same thing, the fact that life moves in cycles, not in this linear line, right? But today we think everything is linear, constant growth, constant cycles, go, 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 go. Everything must be moving up. If it's not moving up, then we don't know what to do with ourselves. The idea that, you know, there's an age of death or an age of dying so that you can be reborn is foreign to us. We think there should always be one thing all the time going this way straight, which just isn't how the world works. This is where things get really interesting. And I'm gonna reference a book here, and it's called The Fourth Turning is Here. It's a really good read, and I think you guys, if you're interested in what I'm saying right now, you guys will probably like this book, so go ahead and check it out. I'll leave a picture of it on the screen or something. But this book argues that history moves in cycles from about 80 to 100 years. So just like the 4 seasons that we're used to, spring, summer, fall, and winter, this book argues that life tends to go in the same kind of cycle, and it's broken into 4 parts. There's a spring. This is the high point. This is stability, rebirth, and rebuilding, right? After, there's some subsequent destruction, you have to rebuild, or you start with something, or you start with nothing and you have to build on something. This is what spring is. Then there's the summer, the age of awakening and questioning things. Maybe things shouldn't be how they were established to be. What if there's a different way of doing things? That is the summer. Then of course there's the fall. This is the division between people who want to keep the status quo and people who want to progress forward. And there tends to be a contention between individualism and the group think, right? And then comes the crisis, winter. This is the collapse of everything that was built already, and it is for a purpose because there will be another springtime. Every time that winter ends, spring always comes next, right? As far as we know, for as long as we know, spring always comes after winter. So where are we now in this whole thing? Well, according to this theory, we are right at winter. The end of winter, actually. This is called the 4th turning. Okay, wait, let me stop right here. I completely forgot to explain previous cycles so that you guys can understand what this means a little bit more. So let's go back to the previous crisis period in the 1930s with the Great Depression. Also, sorry if my voice sounds a little nasally. I got sick right after I recorded this. The previous crisis period, the most closest one to us, was the Great Depression period from 1920 to 1940. So during this era, this was a time of the Great Depression, economic collapse. This is where World War II started too. So you can see how this is a quintessential crisis period. The world is kind of destroying itself, and it's leading to this eventual rebirth. And that is what we're going to get into next. Now we get into the 1940s to roughly about the 1960s. And this is the Renaissance era. This is the spring. So in this era, this is where the boomers were born, right? The boomers that live today. They were born in a time of prospering, right? This is at the tail end of World War II, so in the late 1940s to about the 1960s. This is when all the troops are coming home. They get more money for being in the war. And so these kids that are shaped by this prosperity time, this is where a lot of conservative values come into place, right? Movies are a big thing now. Art is starting to get back into its place. There is Jackson Pollock and Andy Warhol, who are very famous artists right now, right? And we're now establishing familiar values, right? For the first time in history, teenagers have a separate life from their parents, and they have their own culture. There's a subculture developing in the 1950s where there's rock and roll. Kids don't necessarily just listen to what their parents listen to. This is a renaissance of music, art, and culture. Then you move into the 1960s to the 1980s, and this is the awakening period. This is the summer. This is, okay, we established everything with the spring, but now let's question things. Why are things the way they are? So now we have the civil rights movement, right? We have a Vietnam War. There's a lot of political turbulence, assassinations. There's Watergate, drug revolution in the 1960s. We have the sexual revolution, right? People are being more promiscuous. People are starting to question the system that is in play. It's not fair. You can see what rules are established, but they don't fit into this next culture's upbringing. And again, these teenagers and young adults right now are the boomers right now, okay? Now they're in their early teens to mid-20s right now, right? So the boomers that are now young adults are a little rebellious and angsty. And now in this generation also, Gen X is just starting to be born. So they're infants, they're babies, they're about to come into their own, right? They're kids, maybe through 10, I think. Then we move on to the fall. The fall is recent. This is about 1980 to about 2000
2004-ish. So now this is the coming of age of Gen X, right? They're starting to get a sense of their individualism, raised and influenced by their parents who were in the yuppie years, which is what it's called, where material things matter to them because they grew up in a time of prosperity, right? So now the boomers are older, they're midlifers, they're almost done having kids, and they're moving into their last phase. The millennials are now born as post-awakening children. So they have an emphasis on teamwork instead of individualism. Gen X has an idea of individualism, and millennials kind of push back against that individualism and form teams, right? This is where people start to get divided a little bit, because now the boomers are starting to get so far away from, their prosperous upbringing, and things are starting to fall a little bit. People are questioning things. Gen X is questioning things. All of these identities are clashing. Technology starts to really pick up in the next couple years. Technology evolves really fast at this point. And so now you have the rise of conservatism and the end of the Cold War. Things start to bring people together, like TV, right? The TV starts to be consumed by the masses at a certain time, which helps the millennials because they're already team-oriented and hive mind-like thinking, which they were already going to be. But this addition to them growing up with this helps them a lot. So this is also at the tail end of it when the stock market crashes, and they mark stock market crashing in 2008, the kind of start of this current crisis era. So remember, the last crisis era was roughly 1920 to 1940s. So they're saying that this crisis era is roughly from 2008 to 2030-ish. And then the next awakening starts after 2030. And that's what I'm bringing you guys today. So let's go back to this video. Let's pick up where we left off and see what I have to say. I hope that explains this a little bit more so that when I move on to the next thing, you guys kind of understand this a little bit better.
This is called the crisis phase, and it started about 2008 with the financial crash, right? We have growth and political division and cultural instability. Those are all the telltale signs of the winter or the crisis period. And with the cycle, every generation plays their part in moving it along to the next phase. So the boomers right now have values and ideology and moral battles. Gen X is the pragmatic and independent generation. The millennials are community-driven and team-oriented. This often clashes against the Gen X's individualism as well as the boomers' moral self-righteousness. And then there's Gen Z, the ones who adapt to the chaos, who were actually shaped by the chaos. This is all they know, right? So right now, all of these forces are colliding with each other. Eventually, all of this is gonna get to a head, and I think it has. And usually it takes a big, gigantic, cataclysmic event to bring everything to head, whether it's a war or it is just oppression usually does that. In the Renaissance, it was this idea of feudalism where they were being oppressed by the king. The king had all the power and there was feudal. There's seeming to be something similar happening with us where all of these billionaires own all of this capital and we are left on the feudal lands. We have to pay for all of these subscriptions and everything. The Epstein files, the war in Iran, all of this stuff is coming to a head and it's gonna bust into something big. After the crisis is over, there becomes a new identity in place. We rebuild, and this is the rebirth. This is the Renaissance, the birth of a new era, a new system, a new mindset, these type of things. So here's the idea. What if the chaos that we're seeing right now isn't the end, but it's the setup? And stick with me here, but what if AI is the catalyst for something great? AI could potentially replace repetitive work and soulless jobs, the repetitive tasks that people don't necessarily need to do. It could free up people to do more creative ventures or critically thinking ventures, while AI sits there and does accounting and numbers and all of this repetitive over and over stuff to do, right? Because something like that is definitely what creates transformation. Because when survival becomes easier, people shift towards creativity and connection. And in this future, it won't reward low effort creativity. Of course, there'll still be low effort creativity that goes viral, but people won't see it the same in the culture. They'll see it as more of a spectacle and not something to prop these people up on. And what will be rewarded will be skill, taste, real, authentic human perspective, authenticity. Because when everything's artificial, the real becomes valuable again. It becomes more valuable to go outside and talk to people because it's not this manufactured script. People will start admiring people who mess up in videos or make a mistake, or the language that people hear won't be this script that everybody says. We have this thing called like phone talk, where when we're talking to somebody on the phone, we go, hello, and blah, blah, blah. A lot of that is how we talk on social media. So that kind of talk won't be really attractive to people anymore. So people who really wear their heart on their sleeve, that'll be more valuable to people in the future. At least that's what I'm hoping. And I hope you guys are hoping for that too. And we're already seeing little spurts of this. People are craving art and culture, and people want to be great now. I remember Timothy Chalamet recently said he wants to be great, and that went viral because it was so divisive.
I know the classiest thing would be to downplay the effort that went into this role and how much this means to me, but the truth is this was 5.5 years of my life. I poured everything I had into playing this incomparable artist, Mr. Bob Dylan, a true American hero, and it was the honor of a lifetime playing him. It's an honor I share with Monica, Elle, Edward, the entire cast, who in a genre doing a biopic that could be perhaps tired. Everyone gave it their all, so I'm deeply grateful to them. And lastly, I can't downplay the significance of this award because it means the most to me. And I know we're in a subjective business, but the truth is I'm really in pursuit of greatness. I know people don't usually talk like that, but I want to be one of the greats. I'm inspired by the greats. I'm inspired by the greats here tonight. I'm as inspired by Daniel Day-Lewis, Marlon Brando, and Viola Davis as I am by Michael Jordan and Michael Phelps, and I want to be up there. So I'm deeply grateful to that. This doesn't signify that, but it's a little more fuel, it's a little more ammo to keep going. Thank you so much.
Why doesn't anybody want to be great anymore? Why does everybody want to be mediocre? And they're too embarrassed to try. They're too embarrassed to say, I want to be great. Why is that happening? So these are the little signs that we're seeing right now that are potentially shifting our minds into this next renaissance, this next revolution of art and creativity. Every single generation who's in a crisis thinks that this is the end, it's all doom and gloom, and there's nothing to look forward to. But it's not. We've seen this pattern before. Collapse, confusion, division, and then finally, rebirth. The Renaissance wasn't just about art, it was about people rediscovering what it means to be human. And if history is repeating itself, then I'm completely 100% on board with that. I think it's time that we rediscover what it means to be human. So what do you want to do? Do you want to live your life afraid to make a mistake, or do you want to be remembered for somebody who tried to do something great even if you fail? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. There's one thing that's for certain, and the only certainty is that we're all gonna die. And at the end of your life, do you want to be remembered for somebody who is trying to look effortless and look cool and look like you don't care about anything, or do you want to have something that you care about, that you're proud of, and that you can rest assured knowing that you did your absolute very best while you had your time here? My name is Dave Blacks. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of you guys. Like, subscribe, and follow, and I will see you in the next video.